request that you put your cell phones, electronic devices on the side of the road, please, and we thank you for that. My name is Sergeant Mike Evans with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to this very special occasion as we honor our team members on promotions and on to the next highest rank, and recognize those who have demonstrated the Sheriff's Office core values through honorable, meritorious, and exceptional service. At this time, I'm going to ask you to rise while the Honor Guard presents our colors, and our national anthem will be presented by Sheriff's Office Chaplain Keith Olivier.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what a brave we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and the bright stars through the perilous fight of the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs burst in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner of the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please join me as we salute to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, our pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Honored this afternoon to have Chaplain Foy Day, who's the chaplain for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office Alumni Association, to lead us in our invocation prayer. Chaplain Day.
Let's bow our heads, please. Our Heavenly Father and Almighty God, whose great power and eternal wisdom embraces the universe, we ask you to watch over our deputies and all first responders. Protect them from harm in the performance of their duties to stop crime and violence. We pray for help for each of them to keep our streets and our homes safe day and night. We commend them to your loving care because their duty is quite dangerous in the cause of freedom and justice. Grant them, Lord, your unending strength and courage in their daily assignments. Lord, protect these brave men and women and unite them safely with their families after their watch has ended for the day. We ask this request, we believe in the power of prayer, in your most holy name, and all together that we say, amen. Amen.
Please be seated. For an online version of your program, on the back of you can scan the QR code with your cell phone camera, and they're also located on posters throughout the auditorium. Today is a very exciting day for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, where we celebrate our core values that we embrace here. Each team member recognized today aspires to personally personify the professionalism, accountability, compassion, and trustworthiness the Sheriff's Office holds dear, and strive to serve as a role model for their fellow team members and the community. I would like to thank all the elected and public officials. We're honored to have you with us today with your attendance. When your name is called, we'd like to stand and offer you our thanks for being here with us today. County Judge Marquillo. Thank you, Judge. Representatives from the County Clerk's Brandon Steinman's office. Thank you for being here. And our District Attorney, Brett Lee. In addition to these special guests, we also know that we recognize the importance of this ceremony by having in attendance today those family and friends who have gathered here. You are our distinguished guests, and we appreciate you. Your support enables your loved one's professional service to Montgomery County. So if you are somehow connected to someone that we're honoring here today to support and honor your loved one, would you stand so we can recognize you? We also want to recognize supervisors, co-workers, and friends who have taken time out of their busy day to help recognize our team members. And now, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our Sheriff, Rand Henderson.
Thanks, Sarge. Crowd seems a little quiet today, so I think all of y'all are ready to applaud that national anthem. I mean, that was beautiful, wasn't it? Beautiful. Well, family, thank you for being here to honor your loved ones, and thank you for giving us those loved ones for 12 hours a day, sometimes longer. We really appreciate their service to the community and also your service to help your loved ones get through the tough days, the hard times, the long shifts, the pay that we all wish was more. And we know what it's like to try to live in a law enforcement family. It's really difficult, and none of us can do it, one, without God, and two, without family support. And so Chaplain Evans is absolutely right. We honor you, and we absolutely thank you for being here. So one more round of applause for the families. Thank you. A little background on why we're here today and what we're doing. We traditionally at the Sheriff's Office had always done promotion ceremonies. They were generally very small gatherings, sometimes held in the hallway or whatever room could accommodate the size of the group that was going to be honored that day. But whenever we were looking at making some, standard changes to the Sheriff's Office, how we were going to conduct our business, this was one of those that we knew that we wanted to do. We wanted to honor our employees. We wanted to honor not only their service, not only their promotions, but also those valorous acts that are so deserving of recognition and so deserving of a stage environment such as this. And it's really important for us to ensure that those memories are made. I mean, y'all have already done the valorous acts. You've already put in the hard work for that promotion. And we should have an opportunity to celebrate you and celebrate what you're doing. And then have your family here and your kids here and your grandkids here to help celebrate that. So it's something that we're really proud to bring to you. I think this is probably the largest single crowd that we've put together. I saw we had to add quite a few chairs in the back, so that's an excellent problem to have, despite the weather. So it's somewhat problematic outside, and Mr. Millsaps, I hope it doesn't get worse. We were talking weather earlier, so y'all get ready. We're talking about some bad stuff coming through. Chaplain Evans, Sergeant Evans, he'll always be Chaplain in my heart. Also pointed out some of our elected officials that are here. There are a few or two of some of the biggest supporters of law enforcement. As you know, if you drive northbound on I-45, you'll see a billboard that points to you, the hard work that you've done and what has created this special place that is Montgomery County, that is insulated from some of the crime problems that we see in Harris County. And Judge Keogh celebrated that by saying, calling out the criminals and saying we prosecute. And that's directly based on the work that you put in, but not only that, the reputation of our district attorney's office. We can't do it alone, right? Those cases that we have to be prosecuted. And instead of the refusals that you see in Harris County, we get acceptances in Montgomery County. And that's what makes it special, is our reputation. Somebody that might get deferred adjudication for a robbery in Harris County is getting 99 years in Montgomery County. And that's directly attributed to Brett Ligon. So I thank you both so much for being here, and I honor you, and thank you for being here to honor our employees. So let's honor our employees, Chaplain. Let's get this thing going. Thank you.
Sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will first recognize years of service milestones for those team members who have served the County of Montgomery, the state of Texas, and the United States of America as trusted public servants. We will first recognize a team member who has 35 years of service.
Good grief.
When your name is called, please proceed to the middle of the stage for a picture with Sheriff Henderson. At the conclusion of the ceremony, you will receive your service pin from the table to the right of the stage. Jerry J.D. Thomas. Next, we will recognize team members that are celebrating 30 years of service. When your name is called, please proceed to the middle of the stage for a picture with Sheriff Henderson. At the conclusion of the ceremony, you will receive your years of service pin from the table to the right of the stage. We do ask that you hold your applause until all the names have been called. Rudy Almendarez. James Dodson. Andrew Eason. Tim Holyfield. Kevin Pickerel. Daniel Whitworth. Please join me in a round of applause for those who have celebrated 30 years. Next, we will recognize our team members with 25 years of service. When your name is called, please proceed to the middle of the stage for a group picture with Sheriff Henderson. At the conclusion of the ceremony, you will receive your years of service pin from the table to our right. Billy Jordan, Michael Landrum, and Celestina Shelley Ross. Please join me in a round of applause for these. Next, we will recognize our team members with 20 years of service. When your name is called, please proceed to the middle of the stage for a group picture with Sheriff Henderson. At the conclusion of that ceremony, you will receive your years of service pin from the table to our right. Jack Armstrong, Felix Cantu Sr., Jake Paul, J.P. Gonzalez, Stephen Johnson, Paul Lopez Carpenter, Leslie McCauley, John Sanchez, Aaron Summerall, Jack Valenzuela, Christy Rowe. Another round of applause for these. Next, we want to recognize our team members that are celebrating 15 years of service. If you are receiving your 15-year award, please proceed to the front of the stage for a group picture with Sheriff Henderson. At the conclusion of that ceremony, you will receive your years of service pin to the stage's right. Please join me here at the front of the stage when your name is called. Adam Calhoun, Jeffrey Durenberger, Christopher Evans, Patrick Gallagher, Jason Hills, Jeremy Cater, Carmen Patty, Billy Shaw, Andrew Swank, Jonathan Walker, Dawson Weatherford, Amber Wilson, Zachary Winford. How about a round of applause for these gentlemen? Next, we want to recognize our team members with 10 years of public service. There's a lot of them here, so we're just going to ask all of you who are celebrating 10 years of service to stand, please. Wherever you're at, please stand. Team members who are celebrating 5 years of service. Would you please stand? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Sheriff Rand Henderson has led the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office to adopt a progressive promotional process establishing attributes crucial for those desiring to advance their law enforcement career and take the next step in their professional journey. We are excited to recognize those who have met the promotional standards established for their job description and are assuming a higher level of challenge and responsibility. Our newly promoted team members will be recognized by division. For those who are being promoted, when your division is called, please come forward. Stand together as a group to the right of the stage. When your individual name is called, please proceed to the middle of the stage to have your badge pinned on by Sheriff Henderson and receive your certificate of promotion. Following this, you may return to your seat. From the Executive Division and under the command of Captain McKelvey, promoting to Dispatch Supervisor, Mandy Sherman. Promoting to Deputy Specialist in the Training Academy, Nathan Kern. Promoting to TLS Message Center Supervisor, Nicole Holman. Now from the Jail Division and under the command of Major Andy Easton. Promoting to Civilian Detention Sergeant, Colin Snowden. From the Law Enforcement Services Division and under the command of Captain Jimmy Malmay. Promoting to Fleet Mechanic 3, Corey Redden. Promoting to Radio Technician 3, Felix Quinteros. From the Patrol Division, East Precinct, and under the command of Captain Melvin Franklin. Promoting to Detective Joshua Boone. Promoting to Detective Troy Mosley. Congratulations to all who are being recognized for your promotions today. Congratulations. At this time, we would like to recognize several citizens who have gone above and beyond in their assistance to Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. While the following award recipients do not work for NCSO, their selfless contributions have been felt profoundly by our department, and we owe them a tremendous gratitude. Today, receiving the Community Action Partner Award is TDCJ Officer Jonathan Vogler, who was nominated for this award by Lieutenant Jesse Llewellyn. On February 26, 2023, a jail inmate was receiving medical treatment at a local hospital when the inmate attempted to escape. Montgomery County Sheriff's Office staff began chasing the inmate. TDCJ Correction Officer Jonathan Vogler observed the escape in progress and immediately went to assist our officers. A fight ensued, and the inmate grabbed and fired a taser during that struggle. With Officer Vogler's assistance, MCSO staff were able to subdue the escapee and successfully take the inmate back into custody. Thank you, Officer Vogler, for your bravery, swift action, and selfless service. Receiving the Community Action Partner Award is LC Buddy and Pam Hester. They were nominated by Mental Wellness Coordinator Nancy Bond. Buddy and Pam Hester have regularly provided the District 4 substation deputies with food and other special treats for years. This thoughtful couple will drop off food, beverages, snacks, fresh fruit, cakes, cookies, and more. This lovely couple provides all these items out of the goodness of their heart and respect for law enforcement and our MCSO deputies. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office appreciates and recognizes Buddy and Pam Hester as community action partners. We certainly thank you. Receiving the Community Action Partner Award, the Woodlands Firefighters Foundation, nominated by Mental Wellness Coordinator Nancy Bond. The Woodlands Firefighters Foundation dedicates itself to supporting fellow first responders to seek mental health care regardless of an individual's agency affiliation or ability to pay. When a law enforcement officer suffers from an emotional injury in the line of duty, there is evidence of financial hardship. The Woodlands Firefighters Foundation helps individuals receive mental health care to recover from their trauma and remain firm in their first responder role. At least 3 MCSO employees have benefited from this financial generosity and support, and the Woodlands Firefighters Foundation continues to extend their generous offer and provide for additional MCSO deputies and employees in need. This is an amazing partnership. Now we'd like to begin the PACT Awards and Honors part of our ceremony. We want to recognize the MCSO team members who have demonstrated actions that not only embrace our core values of professionalism, accountability, compassion, and trust, but have gone above and beyond in their service to our community. Receiving the Professional Award, Deputy Nicholas Callagher, Detective Bert Taylor, Detective Brandon Bartoskowitz, Sergeant Brad Curtis, Lieutenant Scott Spencer, Lieutenant Jermaine Jenkins, and Lieutenant John Schmidt. This group was nominated by the Magnolia Police Department Chief Kyle Montgomery. Sheriff Henderson received an email from a fellow law enforcement leader and Chief of Magnolia PD, Kyle Montgomery, and I'm pleased to share with you the contents of his email today. This happened as an event in July of 2022 when the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office was called to assist the Magnolia Police Department on an officer-involved shooting investigation. This is from the desk of Chief Kyle Montgomery. As far as I know, this is the first officer-involved shooting that Magnolia PD has ever had. It would be easy to simplify it mentally if I had been through one before, but it was an extremely daunting task. The point of this letter is to bring to your attention the members of your agency that made my life so much easier that night. I was highly impressed with the MCSO deputies on scene. They didn't hesitate to begin life-saving measures once the suspect was in custody. More than one deputy immediately went to their vehicles to retrieve medical supplies and began to render aid on the suspect. They were so quick and efficient. In an era where agencies often pawn off responsibilities, your deputies never viewed it as a, quote, Magnolia PD call. I hope that my officers will handle in a similar situation the same way and learn from MCSO's deputies' examples. Sergeant Curtis from Homicide went above and beyond to explain how their process would work and what they would need from me. Throughout the almost 9 hours on scene, anything that I needed or any question that I had, Sergeant Curtis was available and was a tremendous help to me. I'm incredibly grateful that I had him as a resource that night. When Lieutenant Jenkins and Lieutenant Schmidt arrived, I utilized them for the many administrative questions. They also went out of their way to make my job easier. I knew they were a wealth of knowledge, and knowing that they were there to help me was a good feeling. I had never given an on-camera media release before, and I was apprehensive about making an officer-involved shooting my camera debut. Lieutenant Spencer made it clear that he was there to assist me in any way, and he also went above and beyond to help me. Not only did Lieutenant Spencer assist me with writing my first media release, he also gave me insights from his PIO experience, helping me that night and in the future. Everyone on that scene was highly professional and efficient. I would have been very proud if these had been my guys. We wouldn't have been able to work this scene without the assistance of MCSO, so I am genuinely grateful to your agency. I am Chief Howard Jones. Receiving the Combat Cross is Deputy Nicholas Callagher, nominated by the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. In reference to the same scene mentioned just moments ago, Deputy Nicholas Callagher is receiving the Combat Cross. On the evening of July 15, 2022, Deputy Nicholas Callagher was dispatched to assist Magnolia Police Department with a call involving a male holding a shotgun in the doorway of a hotel. Upon arrival, Deputy Callagher linked up with Magnolia police officers who were attempting to negotiate with the suspect. The suspect then raised his shotgun and pointed it at Deputy Callagher and his fellow officers. Deputy Callagher used swift action to engage the suspect with his firearm, striking the suspect, thus ending the volatile standoff. Deputy Callagher acted with bravery in the face of a potentially deadly situation and protected the lives of his fellow officers and the public. For his actions that day, Deputy Callagher is awarded the Combat Cross. Thank you for your service, sir. Receiving the Professional Award is Detective Burdette Taylor, nominated by Sergeant Charlie Sullivan. On September 21st, 2021, Detective Taylor reported to the scene of the deceased juvenile male in the grassy area of the neighborhood. The male's identity was unknown, and the circumstances around his death were undetermined. Detective Taylor led the entire Homicide and Violent Crimes Unit in investigating this tragic death. Detective Taylor was required to leverage the abilities of the entire unit and multiple other units to support his extensive investigation. Detective Taylor completed an exceptionally detailed case file which resulted in the arrest of a suspect for capital murder. Again, in August 2022, Detective Taylor made the scene of a complex murder involving a criminal gang. After an extensive investigation, Detective Taylor made multiple arrests in this case, including the shooter for the murder. Detective Taylor is well on his way to becoming an excellent homicide investigator and leader in his agency and community. Well done, Detective. Receiving the Professional Award, Detention Officers Benjamin Bonito, John Polkinghorn, Oscar Vasquez. These are nominated by Detention Sergeant Kimberly Anderson. On December 2nd, 2022, Detention Officers Bonito, Polkinghorn, and Vasquez escorted an incoming prisoner with an intellectual or developmental disabilities to the main infirmary. These officers were observed reassuring the incoming prisoner when he was unsure of his surroundings and repeatedly checking his comfort level while medical staff dressed his wounds. The officers continuously engaged the incoming prisoner in positive conversations to keep him calm, discussing everything from PlayStation games to what cookies he liked to eat. These officers were patient and kind and displayed the compassion beyond the required task. Well done. Receiving the Professional Award is Detective Tony Madison, nominated by Sergeant Dave Foreman. On May 29, 2022, Detective Tony Madison was assigned a complex sexual assault case. Both the victim and witness in this case were very hesitant to cooperate with law enforcement. Detective Madison tirelessly attempted over 3 months to gain the trust of the victim in this case and assure her that help was available for her. At last, the witness agreed to speak with Detective Madison and she identified the suspect. Additionally, evidence collected confirmed the suspect's DNA. Detective Tony Madison consistently displays professionalism and the utmost compassion towards his victims. Excellent work, sir. Receiving the Compassionate Award, Deputy Adam Smith and Deputy Kenneth Talley. These are nominated by Sergeant Christopher Evans. On December 5th, 2022, Deputy Adam Smith and Deputy Kenneth Talley assisted a family violence investigation. The suspect who fled the scene was a U.S. Army veteran in crisis. Deputy Talley and Deputy Smith made contact with the veteran. They showed him tremendous professionalism and compassion, using their shared service skills. Deputy Talley with the U.S. Navy and Deputy Smith with the U.S. Marine Corps, Semper to connect with the veterans. Their connection and display of understanding towards the veteran allowed him to be placed into custody without incident and also helped him get on the path for proper assistance. Well done. 2022, Deputy Cox and Deputy Robinson responded to a welfare check with a suicidal male. Deputy Cox advised he located the 46-year-old male wearing his Class A Army uniform with a gun to his head. The male told deputies he was going to kill himself. Deputies used their prior military experience to build rapport, which convinced the male to put the gun down. After 2 hours of conversation and a pot of coffee, the veteran in crisis agreed to seek help. Since then, deputies and the Army veteran have become friends, speak on a first-name basis, and check on each other regularly. Deputies Cox and Robinson went above the call of duty. These deputies' prior military experience to our country resonated with the veteran and impacted his life for good. Their actions are a fantastic representation of the Sheriff's Office promise to the public of a compassionate police force for their community. Well done, Deputy Cox, Deputy Robinson. Receiving the Compassionate Award, Deputy Savoth Ooch, nominated by Lieutenant Scott Spencer. At approximately 05:15 hours on March 2nd, 2023, two of the emergency room nurses approached me, this is Lieutenant Spencer, with concerned faces and a special request. They informed me that they had a fading patient that would likely not live much longer. The family had requested a final prayer for this patient. Hospital staff informed me they had been unable to reach the hospital's chaplain and were afraid that this last request would not be satisfied. The employees, knowing of Deputy Ooch's strong faith, asked him if he could fulfill that last request. Deputy Ooch did not hesitate and quietly made his way into the patient's room. The patient was still alive, but appeared to be no longer alert. Deputy Ooch quietly approached the patient's bedside and introduced himself, calling him by name. Then, in the presence of 8 healthcare professionals and myself, Deputy Ooch delivered a beautiful and moving prayer for the patient, bringing several to tears. Unfortunately, the patient passed just a few minutes later. Many see the law enforcement career as a calling to serve others. Regularly, the focal point of this call is to provide safety and protection for members of our community. However, Deputy Ooch went above this call in a very extraordinary way. By satisfying a family's last request for their beloved, he provided absolute comfort for a dying man. Congratulations. Receiving the Unit Citation Award is the MCSO Museum and 185th Anniversary Committee, consisting of Captain Dan Norris, Lieutenant Scott Spencer, Sergeant Charlie Sullivan, Sergeant Philip Vines, Detective Tom Ganucci, Detective Jeremy Howes, Detective Fatty Risk, Specialist Steve Squire, and Administrative Assistant Melissa Garcia. This nomination comes from Major Tim Cannon. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office Museum and 185th Anniversary Committee was created in October of 2021 due to numerous ideas and requests to centralize the memorabilia of our agency. Sheriff Henderson charged this committee to come up with the best way to showcase our valued history to our employees and to the public. From the committee's beginnings, it was obvious that those involved were self-motivated, dedicated, and excited to be part of something that would eventually leave a positive legacy for our agency. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office Museum collection also continued to grow during the museum's development. Finally, in December 2022, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office Museum was ready for a soft opening, and the historical badge was authorized to wear. With great pride, we honor and recognize this team of dedicated employees for designing and creating the official Montgomery County Sheriff's Office Museum, the historical badge, and coin. These creations will deepen the understanding of our past and present law enforcement professionals who dedicate their career to service of the Montgomery County citizens. Thank you. Receiving the Life Saving Award, Deputy Thomas Porter and Deputy Brian Gomez, nominated by Sergeant Dustin Savage. On December 3rd, 2022, a citizen that had pulled over to the emergency lane flagged down these two approaching patrol units. Upon contact, our deputies learned that the man's 10-year-old daughter had a severe allergic reaction and required immediate medical assistance. Deputies Thomas Porter and Brian Gomez escorted the family to a nearby fire station where paramedics attended to his daughter and transported her to Methodist Hospital. Later, the father advised that his daughter was in stable condition, and he conveyed his appreciation for both deputies' actions as they likely saved her life. Well done, Deputy Porter and Gomez. Receiving the Life Saving Award, Sergeant Tyler Hall, nominated by Lieutenant Keith Funderburg and Detective Felix Cantu Jr. On March 11, 2023, MCSO received a 911 call from a female about an assault with a knife. MCSO dispatch could hear an argument in the background. During the conflict, the woman kept making comments to, quote, send units before she had to kill her daughter. She then placed the phone down and would not respond to MCSO dispatch. After several minutes, the woman returned to the phone and advised dispatch that she had just stabbed her daughter in the leg. The woman urged dispatch to hurry the units before her daughter died from blood loss. Sergeant Tyler Hall was the first unit on the scene by himself. Sergeant Hall immediately located and detained the woman and secured the weapon, allowing him to provide the much-needed medical treatment to the daughter. Sergeant Hall quickly and correctly applied a tourniquet to the daughter and instructed the other people on location to help apply pressure to the wound to prevent further blood loss. Fire and EMS arrived shortly after and took control of the patient. Over the next 24 hours, medical staff advised that the woman had stabbed her daughter's femoral artery and her leg was unfortunately amputated. Detectives spoke with Medic 10 who reported that Sergeant Hall's application of the tourniquet was crucial in saving the daughter's life and commended his heroic action. Well done, Sergeant Hall. Receiving the life-saving award, Deputies Brandon Franklin, Sean Yates, Luke Picard, James Hinkle, and Sergeant Jonathan Walker. Additionally, receiving the Combat Cross are Deputies Brandon Franklin, Sean Yates, and Luke Picard. These are nominated by Lieutenant John Schmidt. On September 26, 2022, Deputies Brandon Franklin, Sean Yates, Luke Picard, and James Hinkle responded to an in-progress family violence call in Magnolia, Texas. While en route to the call, MCSO dispatch advised deputies that a female at this location was arguing with her husband who had just shot her. When deputies arrived, they observed a white male standing on the front porch holding a rifle. Deputies exited their patrol vehicles and took positions behind cover while holding the subject at gunpoint. Deputies advised the subject to put the rifle down and try to establish rapport. However, the subject's behavior remained erratic and non-compliant. Deputies continued de-escalation techniques to calm the subject down. Suddenly, and without reason, the male raised the rifle and pointed it towards the deputies. Deputies Franklin, Yates, and Picard discharged their firearms, striking the subject multiple times. Without hesitation, the four deputies, now joined by Sergeant Jonathan Walker, immediately ran to the subject and began providing life-saving measures. The subject was transported to the hospital and survived the shooting. All four deputies exemplified the highest standards of the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office by showing compassion and heroism when faced with imminent personal injury or loss of life with an armed adversary. Well done. Receiving the Meritorious Service Award, Detective Fatty Risk. It's nominated by Sergeant Charlie Sullivan of the Homicide and Violent Crimes Unit. Detective Fatty Risk is receiving the Meritorious Service Award for his dedication and continued efforts in the MCSO Cold Case Division. Having served in the Cold Case Unit for only a few years, Detective Risk's dedication and tenacity has led to the closure of 2 cold cases, giving the families the closure they have needed for decades. In the first case, Detective Risk utilized new DNA technology to solve the rape and murder of a 12-year-old girl from 1979. Detective Risk found that the subject, identified by a DNA match, had already been executed by lethal injection for a conviction on a 1989 capital murder case in Montgomery County. Even though the suspect was deceased, Detective Risk continued to attempt to locate a DNA profile for the suspect. After much work, Detective Risk confirmed through DPS records that the original suspect was a positive match for the DNA sample in the 1979 case. Detective Risk cleared one of the oldest cold case homicides in the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, bringing closure to the family of this 12-year-old girl at last. In the second case, Detective Risk, through meticulous investigation of old records and resubmission of DNA records, was able to identify a skull and clothing found in 1988 as that of a 37-year-old missing person, Charles Wayne Dodd, from 1985. After notifying the family, Detective Risk set out to find the rest of Mr. Dodd's remains. In May of 2022, Detective Risk found the remainder of Mr. Dodd's remains, and the family could finally have a proper burial for their loved one. Thank you, Detective Risk, for bringing closure to the families and showing our community that although investigations are often limited by technologies available at the time, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office will never stop striving to bring justice to those victims, no matter how long it takes. Congratulations. Receiving the PACT Award of Excellence, Recruiting Specialist Brian Lennon, nominated by the PACT Committee. Specialist Lennon has been assigned to the recruiting division for 12 years and continues to exceeds expectations on his annual Montgomery County Sheriff's Office evaluations. In addition, his supervisors have received both phone calls and personal verbal statements from school administrators, event coordinators, and others about how personable and professional he is as he interacts with others. Specialist Lennon has developed a quiet yet powerful passion for blending his love for law enforcement with a strong desire to see young adults succeed. As a result, he has developed close connections with school administrators, college officials, military leaders, and others who oversee potential applicants. The trust Specialist Lennon has garnered with these officials allow him fluid opportunities to meet with young people and present opportunities and benefits of working for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. In making contact with young adults, he has an innate ability to speak about career possibilities and often discovers areas of a person's life that may be less than desirable. More importantly, he engages in conversations about life and offers thoughts and ideas to those struggling with personal issues. Quoting from one applicant, "Lennon just didn't tell me about MCSO. He motivated me to do better in school, get along with my parents, stop making bad choices, and so on." Specialist Lennon's heart for seeing young people of all social, economic, and geographical levels moving forward is no secret to the recruiting unit. His peers recognize how he goes above and beyond in speaking to young applicants to better themselves. These interactions by Brian Lennon are natural to him, and he is most likely unaware of his extraordinary impact he has on others. Specialist Lennon is in contact with the employee applicants daily. While there is no matrix to measure the young people who did not get into trouble, fight with their parents, or later succeed in school, the mission of the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office advances through his quiet and reserved interactions. His natural connection with his contacts and interviews motivates his peers to connect with people in a more meaningful way. For many years, Specialist Lennon has had a significant positive impact on the general population of our community and, without a doubt, exceeds the normal expectations of job performance. Well done, Specialist Lennon. Receiving the PACT Award of Excellence, Captain Dan Norris, nominated by the PACT Committee. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office would like to recognize and thank Captain Daniel Norris for his exemplary and dedicated service to the citizens of Montgomery County for the past 39 years. Captain Norris began his law enforcement career with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office in April 1984 as a reserve patrol deputy. He worked in that capacity unpaid for just over 2 years until April 1986, when he became a full-time paid employee. Throughout his storied career, Captain Norris has worked in nearly every division in the Sheriff's Office. His career includes tenures as patrol deputy, detective, sergeant, lieutenant, and captain. Although he began his law enforcement on patrol, Captain Norris quickly found himself in the Criminal Investigation Division in the late 1980s, working criminal cases, and then as a supervisor and mentor in that division. Throughout the years, Captain Norris has investigated every type of crime, from criminal mischief cases to capital murders. Captain Norris served so many distinguished roles, including Public Information Officer for the agency, Recruiting Supervisor, Citizens Academy Instructor, Reserve Officers Program, Negotiators, Homicide Violent Crimes, Special Victims Unit, Internal Affairs, Narcotics, Organized Crime, and the Crime Lab, to name a few. Did I leave any out? It is by no coincidence that Captain Norris has been the current head of the Criminal Investigation Division for the past 4 years. Throughout his career, Captain Norris has been recognized multiple times for his excellence in providing law enforcement service, including being honored with several academic recognition awards. He holds not only a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice and Master of Science in Criminal Justice Leadership and Management for the Sam Houston State University, but he is also a graduate of the Bill Blackwood Law Enforcement Management Institute of Texas, the LIMIT, the Leadership Command College, LCC/GMI 28, and the FBI National Academy NA 207 session. Additionally, Captain Norris has held law enforcement instructor certificate since 1996, a Master Peace Officer license since 1999, and has also served as an adjunct professor at Sam Houston State University. Captain Norris is known for doing the right thing even when no one is looking. He doesn't look for praise, even though he certainly deserves it, because he is humble and quickly becomes embarrassed by personal commendations and accolades. Captain Norris is one of the most respected and honorable individuals of the Sheriff's Office. We are so blessed to work beside him every day. We know of no one who deserves this award as much as Captain Norris. Even as a devoted, loving, and faithful follower, faithful husband to his Randy, and a doting father to Mindy and Heather and their own young families, Captain Norris has dedicated his life's work to the faithful and selfless service to others, and in doing so has demonstrated that he is worthy of this prestigious award. It is with great pride that we recognize and honor Captain Daniel Norris with this Lifetime Meritorious Service Award for his selfless dedication, contributions, and continued commitment to excellence in the law enforcement profession. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our awards ceremony today. Please join me one more time in a round of applause for all these amazing awards.
And also, before we leave, I want us to thank our Citizen Academy volunteers for being here. They're the ones in the white shirts. They volunteer their time. They're graduates of our Citizen Academy, so I thank you so much. And we recently lost one of our longtime Citizen Academy classmates, David Handy. So our thoughts and prayers are certainly with David and his family as well. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your volunteer time.
This does conclude our ceremony. We do have refreshments provided over here by the wall. If you would like to have a picture made, we'll have this backdrop here, also a backdrop over there. You're welcome to stay around, visit with each other, make some photographs, and have a great afternoon. Thank you for being here.